She's trying to get him to live in the moment, right?
Yeah.
Like, watch the show. Take it all in.
Now everybody would just be recording all this shit on their iPhone.
Yeah. How times have changed. Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Stasi.
I'm Steven.
And in this video, Steven and I will both be watching the movie Almost Famous for the first time. How this is going to work, we're going to find out what each other knows about the movie, then we'll give a few details on the movie, we'll go watch it, then we'll come back and we'll give our reviews. So do you know anything about Almost Famous?
No. I know that it's called Almost Famous. And then you have the DVD of it.
Yeah, you didn't know it existed before. Yeah.
No idea.
And
But apparently it won 2 Golden Globes, including Best Picture, so hopefully it won't suck.
yes.
What do you know about it, Stasi?
I know that it came out in the early 2000s and that Kate Hudson is in it. And that's pretty much it. I don't. Oh, and I know that it's about the music industry.
All right, so reading off of the back of the DVD case, since again I didn't know this movie was a thing. Almost Famous came out in the year 2000. It stars Billy Crudup, Frances McDormand, Kate Hudson, Jason Lee, Patrick Fugit, Anna Paquin, Fairuza Balk, Noah Taylor, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Looks like it was produced by Cameron Crowe and Ian Bryce, and was written and directed by Cameron Crowe. All right, Stasi, you ready to watch this?
I am.
Okay.
I'm excited.
You're
I guess.
excited.
Yeah.
I have no expectations. Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, maybe I don't really have expectations either. But we'll see what happens. And you'll see what happens.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, so we just watched Almost Famous. I'm going to go ahead with the synopsis. Stasi, please help me out if I forget anything.
Will do.
Almost Famous starts out with a young boy named William, and you see his sister and his crazy-ass mom, Elaine.
When do you think's the last time she got laid?
A few years.
Like 20?
Not 20, but it's been a few years.
It's wound pretty tight.
And basically, the sister leaves, and she gives William all of her records, so he basically becomes obsessed with rock and roll and rock stars. Flashes forward a few years, William is 15, but he's a senior in high school because he skipped a few grades. He's a smart kid, and he is writing for a magazine called Cream with Lester, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Philip Seymour Hoffman, R.I.P.
giving him some advice about don't be friendly to rock stars, they're the enemy, or you're their enemy, they'll treat you like your friend, sort of, laying out some lessons for him.
Trying to get him to keep a level of, objectiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're there to observe and
Yeah, it's
report.
like he sort of knows what's coming.
Yeah.
And William's young and naive.
Right.
So then William gets a call from Rolling Stone magazine, and they want him to go with this band Stillwater on tour and write an article about them. So he also meets a groupie, not a groupie, called a Band-Aid. Yeah, basically a groupie.
Kind of look like groupies.
Penny, played by Kate Hudson, and she is, following along the band as well. And then basically, they go on a nationwide tour, playing these shows. He's trying to learn what he can, and just all this sort of crazy shit happens.
Yeah.
And so, basically the band, they're at odds at just different times. The one lead guitar, Russell, he wants to go off on his own solo. They're, they get into it and this and that. And you have the groupies and the women and the sex and the drugs and the partying and all that.
Yeah, and them telling William, don't print everything, because they wanted to have this image. And they were like, this is off the record kind of stuff, basically. You can't report about all the women and the drugs and
all the turmoil with the band and things like that.
All the stuff that people think is going on anyway.
And then he does just that. William goes back to Rolling Stone offices in San Francisco at the end of the movie, writes the article, totally truthful, everything that happened, and then the band denies it all. And then basically Penny tricks Russell basically into going to William's house at the end, meeting his crazy-ass mom and his sister, and then eventually, sitting down, doing the interview right, calling Rolling Stone, letting them know that William's article was factual and truthful. They get printed on the cover of Rolling Stone. Penny gets to go to Morocco.
Yeah.
And William and Russell are homies again.
Yeah.
And the band's all homies again, and it all ends very nice in a nice, neat little bow with the tour bus, going down the road into the sunset.
Yeah, the No More Airplanes tour.
Yeah. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about our favorite parts of Almost Famous. Stasi, start us off.
So one of my favorite parts of the movie was just William's overall awkwardness. Like, I know he's 15, he's a teenager, like, that's to be expected at that age, but just the way that he was still, holding his own in a lot of those scenes.
Some weird-ass situations he got himself into.
So, but he was like, I'm not gonna run and go home. Like, this is what he really wanted to do, and he was very determined and wanted to be a journalist, and he did it with all the craziness that he was experiencing. And I guess the one scene where they were like, we're gonna make sure you're not a virgin anymore, like,
you mean the borderline rape scene?
Yeah.
Where he's 15?
Yeah, and all the groupies are like,
pull him onto the bed and strip his clothes off?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, bitches, no means no. This is rape. This is technically rape.
What are they doing? Oh, they're just doing some hippie stuff. They're not actually going to do
Kind
that.
of weird hippie shit. It's almost worse. Yep, they raped him. They raped him good.
I
It
guess
was
if
weird.
if it's the 70s, it's okay, but
Yeah.
that was that was
I
a
know,
little
I was
much.
watching that and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but he was, in the end, cool with it.
Yeah.
He woke
of
up
course
with
he
them.
was cool with it.
He woke
Who
up
wouldn't
with
be
them.
cool with it? But I'm
I
saying
know.
it's not appropriate.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
So I would say like another thing that I liked about, sort of William, but was the dynamic with William and Russell throughout the movie, because William, you find out that his dad died when he was a little kid, so he didn't really have a father figure, and so I feel like Russell kind of played that role as they're going back and forth, and he sees him doing things that are admirable and things that are not so good at the same time, and so I feel like that sort of relationship of William sort of learning what to do and what not to do from Russell was also...
Yeah.
Another aspect of the movie that I really liked.
Very coming of age.
Definitely.
Even though the subject matter was, about the music industry and he was on tour with these rock stars, it was very much a coming of age story.
Yeah. As far as my favorite scenes go, I mean, the two that really took it for me, one, the plane almost crashing where they all think they're going to die, and they all start saying how much they love each other, yet how much they hate each other, and then one guy's like, oh, guys, I'm gay. And then the pilot comes out and it's like, we made it, we're fine. And he just looks like so pissed off.
All the affairs were coming out, like who slept with who, and like when they thought they were going to die.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
And then second scene would have to be when Russell goes to the house party, I think in Kansas, and is just doing acid and getting drunk, and he's up on the roof screaming and jumping in the pool. And he's like, I love these people, these are my family now.
Yeah.
And he's just like, just the way he was acting that whole scene was great.
And William was his babysitter, and he was trying to convince him not to jump off the roof into the pool. He almost does it, but, all the other kids that were around were like, jump, jump.
Yeah.
And so he jumped.
He's like, I love drugs.
Yeah.
And he jumps off.
Yeah. That's what he wanted his last quote to be.
Yeah. I
love drugs. I thought it was pretty funny, too, when Elaine would call the hotels where she knew that William would be with the band. And
don't do drugs.
Her whole thing throughout the movie. Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. She talked to, like, a couple of the front desk staff.
A
and
groupie,
they were like,
Russell.
Yeah, a groupie, Russell.
Yeah, she just keeps calling through people to get to William. It's pretty great.
And... for a couple of them, she, scared them. I can't remember the exact phrase they used, but it was something like, your mom tripped me out, or whatever it was, but...
Damn, she really flipped the script on him.
He's so, lost.
Was there anything you didn't like about Almost Famous?
So, first and foremost, the end just wrapped up a little too neat. It was a nice little bow on the present of the movie, with the band being so chummy and... I mean, going through the movie, they say some pretty horrible shit to each other. Russell wants to, leave the band and go solo. So there's just, in real life, they definitely probably would have split up as a band. And so if I had to nitpick something, it would just be the way it all ended so neatly. It would have been a little more realistic
Too
for me.
Too much of a happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that.
Also, I wasn't really digging the William Penny love story because he's 15 and she's also a groupie who has been, through some shit. She's
seen some things.
She's been, she's basically, she's got some STDs and he doesn't, Yeah, I don't really want to say too much more. It was just kind of cringy. He, kisses her and tells her he loves her while she's, ODing.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, why is he kissing her while she's incapacitated?
Is she dead?
Not yet.
Why am I so nervous?
Yeah, I liked more of, the Russell Penny love story thing with how William sort of, almost as a friend, protected and was sort of her,
Yeah.
Confidant, I guess, when she would come talk to him. Final point I had with this movie is it was rated R, took place in the 70s with rock stars, sex, drugs, rock and roll. No boobies in the movie. Not a pair of tits in the whole thing.
No, Kate Hudson showed.
Those don't count, all right? I'm talking about boobs here. There definitely would have been tits out a lot of the time.
Well, think about this. The movie was filmed in 2000. So maybe that had something to do with it. If it were made now, there would probably be more boobs.
Do you think they didn't have boobs in movies back in 2000? They definitely did.
They did? They did.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out a reason why.
But yeah, those are just my little nitpicky things. More tits, cringy love story, too happy of an ending. What about you, Stasi?
So, my least favorite part revolved around how Elaine treated William and Anita differently when it came to, their life aspirations. In the beginning of the movie, you see how Anita is really into rock and roll. She's sneaking in albums and her mom catches her and she's basically it's the devil's music. She doesn't say that. She's not religious, but she just thinks it would corrupt her soul or whatever. And she ends up running away. And then you see her with William and she decides that, it's okay for my 15-year-old son to go on tour with a rock band. I know that she was still harassing him with phone calls and things like that, but the fact that she let him go anyway when he's 15.
There's just no way a mom like that would let him go.
Yeah.
How fucking nuts she was. There's no way that she'd be like, okay, fine.
She was way different with her daughter.
Get on the tour bus. Bullshit.
Would you watch it again?
Yeah, I would watch it again. Maybe not for a little while. Let it age a little bit. Think about it a little bit. But, it was a good movie. It's got some great scenes in there. And, yeah, I would definitely watch it again at some point. What about you?
I will watch it again. And I agree with you. I think it's one of those movies that you watch every 5-10 years or something like that. It's not something that you would see frequently. But, yeah, I would watch it again.
Kind of want to let yourself forget about some of the parts and then watch it again.
And then watch it again. Yeah. You gotta let it rest a little bit.
All right, so now comes our time. We're gonna guess some numbers, and Stasi and I have not looked at anything before. We're gonna guess first. Stasi's gonna take out her phone, look stuff up on the internet, and we'll see how far off we are.
Yeah.
So starting with box office and budget.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think the budget was $18 million. And for the time and that it's rated R, I'm going to say, I do think it was popular, so I'll say $108 million for the box office. What about you?
I think it was a little more expensive. I'm going to say it cost $25 million, and I'm going to say it made $85 million.
Right.
Okay, now, Rotten Tomatoes. Critic and audience.
Okay.
Go.
Critic, I'd say 76%. And audience, I'd say 81%. What do you think?
So I went a little bit higher than you. I said the critics probably gave it an 88, and the audience gave it a 90.
Okay.
All right, Stasi, let's see how close we were.
Okay, so budget and box office. The budget was $60 million. That's insane. I would not have guessed that movie cost $60 million.
I guess all those actors got a fat payday.
Yeah. What?
Because a lot of it just took place in hotel rooms and on a tour bus.
Yeah, and it was 2000.
Yeah.
Okay. the box office was $47.4 million.
Ooh.
They lost some money.
Damn.
Wow. This was a curveball.
A flop. What about Rotten Tomatoes?
All right, Rotten Tomatoes. The critics gave it 89%. Very close, Stephen. And the audience gave it a 92.
Boom. This guy right here.
Yeah.
I was pretty close.
That's so annoying. Because I was thinking higher and then I went lower.
So, okay, you were just guessing? You would rate it higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, because me personally, I gave this movie a 90 when I just thought about it. I would say it was pretty great.
Well, because I had
little nitpicky things. If they had thrown some tits in there, this thing would have been like a 95.
I originally wrote critic 88. I did, and I crossed it out. Yeah, I second guessed.
Got to go with your gut,
and
people.
Then, yeah, wow.
Let that be a lesson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say this movie for me was a 90. I'm right there with the critic and audience. Very much enjoyed it. It kind of sucks that it cost them so much to make and they didn't make their money back.
Yeah.
But again, it did have a bunch of actors in it, so.
It did. And yeah, I'd agree with the scores too. So there's our review of Almost Famous.
If you like the way that we watch and review movies here on the channel, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, click on notifications so you'll know when we post a new video.
Also, be sure to comment your thoughts. Let us know what you think of Almost Famous, of our reviews, and if there are any movies that you think one or both of us haven't seen before, comment them below and we'll put them up on the channel.
Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks.
You never go with a hippie to a second location. Everybody knows that.
That's the thing?
It's a quote.
From what?
I can't remember. It's gonna bug me now. I gotta see what that quote is from. Oh, it's from 30 Rock. Alec Baldwin's character. Lemon, never go with a hippie to a second location.